Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Marigold Grand Destiny review. I am your host, as always, Scott E. And I'm very excited to talk about this show. Thank you to anyone who checked out the previews from last week, including the Mayu versus IYO preview, and of course, the entire show preview. This is a show that I was wildly excited for. There was a reason I put so much content into it, and coming here to the other side of it, I couldn't be more excited for the future while also being as excited I am to just talk about this show from top to bottom. I think from top to bottom, this was the best Marigold show we have seen yet. It is their best attendance to date, so bravo to everyone involved. And it, of course, had an incredible main event, big time title switches, and everything in between. So, with that being said, let's get to our review. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the review. Oftentimes, I like to do live reviews for this, but yesterday I was awake for 24 hours. I was uh, a lot of busyness in my life as of late. I was pretty much going from 7 a.m. until this show ended. And I wouldn't ruin it for the world. It's one of the best days of my life, quite frankly. It was a fantastic day, and it ended with a fantastic match, a fantastic show. Couldn't ask for anything better. So that's why there's not a live review. I just didn't have it in me. I slept like 3 times today to catch up on what was a long weekend. And yeah, I'm just super excited to now get to this. I'll be doing live reviews again in the future. I'm sure we're going to probably do live reviews for Queendom and First Stream. Maybe that's when we get back to it when I have a little bit more time. We'll see when we get there. But with that all being said, thank you everyone who is joining me here today. Thank you everyone who is taking part in listening to this review. I ask you now, leave a like, leave a comment. What was your favorite match on the show? How'd you like the show? And just overall, tell me your thoughts. I love to hear everyone's thoughts. And make sure you subscribe. If this is your first time on the channel, subscribing, you'll never miss a video. I'm producing joshi content on a weekly basis, covering the scene as much as I can, and I love every bit of it. This is when I usually promote what's coming up as well. I have no idea what's coming up. A lot of my content was going into this very show, which I'm very excited to talk about here today. But when I figure that out, I will let you all know. But that's all the back and forth, little detailed things I got to get through. Let's get to this review, shall we? And of course, it starts with the opener. It was Kazuna Tanaka versus Shino in the second generation singles match. This match was one that I circled from the moment it was announced because there is a story to begin here between these two. Obviously, having their mothers in their corner is an extra step, an extra excitement to what these two can create. But for these two, and I talked about this in my preview and in the lead up, these two could tell a story that very few in wrestling can tell. Like these two grew up together. These two were friends. And now they're in a very unique and different dynamic where one is the senior wrestler to the other. And they're both striving with the same goals, and that is to be champion. That is to be at the top of the world, top of the Joshi world. And I think the match was so perfectly done because this is a match of two very different personalities, both such bright futures, such exciting futures. But since the moment Shino debuted, it has been pure earned hype, right? Shino's next. Shino's going to be the superstar. She has a chance to be the top star, all these different things. So much hype for a 16-year-old prodigy, it looks like. On the other hand, you have Kazuna Tanaka here, right? Second generation, the daughter of Yumi Fukawa and Minoru Tanaka. And her time in Marigold, I think, has quieted her hype a little bit. you know? When she first debuted in Pro Wrestling Wave, people were like, "Okay, this is a second generation wrestler, she has a bright future," and she had some strong performances there, and when she switched over to Marigold, I think she had some strong performances throughout her time thus far, but of course, the injuries stunted her momentum and kind of put her behind the Victoria Zukis and the Seri Yamaokas and now Shino. So this was a chance for her on the big stage at Ryogoku Sumo Hall in a match against someone that she knows so well to put on a show and to remind people, hey, I deserve to be in those conversations of the future of Marigold, the future of Joshi wrestling. Don't forget about me. And I think that was the performance, that was the fire that this match had between the two. Kazuna Tanaka is fiery. She is exciting. She is someone who is really starting to grasp who she wants to be as a wrestler, right? She's using a bit more strikes. Um, just really adding a level of seriousness to her game that I think again is going to take her such a long way. Shino, on the other hand, I don't think Shino could have had a stronger first year already, right? She's found the gear, right? It sets her apart from everyone else. She has the skill set, the strikes that just echo when she hits them. She feels as set to be a top star as any rookie possibly could. It is 2 different ways, you know, Kazuna finding herself while Shino's like, "I'm here, I'm ready." You know, if Shino was full time, would the super push already be happening? That's the question. That's the question we ask. She doesn't lose a lot, but this was a match that Kazuna Tanaka had to win. And she did. The match had the great back and forth. The moment of the match was hitting that Uranagi, you know, Shino dropping Kazuna on that Uranagi as a moment of, okay, let's even this out, and them just sitting there. The appreciation, you know, watching the faces of their mothers in the corner and the love they have for their daughters and how proud they looked to watch such a match. This is what you want opening a pay-per-view, especially a pay-per-view that one is seen as your biggest show of the year is, hey, you hear about that young Marigold? Here are two of the key pieces right off the rip. They are opening the show. We are giving them the baton to run with, and they are going to shine doing that. This match was so many different levels of importance for Kazuna Tanaka, who now I hope leads out of this match with momentum. This was a momentum making match for someone who I have a lot of belief in. And for Shino, it is another sign of you are going to be special. You are going to be here the moment you can be. You know, they had an really, really strong opener. One of my favorite openers of the year in all of wrestling. And this would really set the tone for a show that had so much variety from start to finish. No match felt the same to me. And that is a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful thing. This one was fast, hard hitting, with a goal of just wanting to win. Sometimes that's all you need is the want and need to win, not to show up one another, not to, you know, deliver the super classic, just to have a match, a competitive match where you show you both want to win so bad. I'm so happy for Kazuna. I'm so happy for Shino. Shino in her first year gets to kick off the Grand Destiny, the biggest show in Marigold's history to this point. You can't ask for much more. These two are gonna be stars. If they ever wanna give them the tag run, I'm sure they will. I can't wait for that. Um, but yeah, this was truly all I could ask for an opener and a great start between them. Then it was announced we have some signature events to be excited about. On January 3rd, Marigold First Dream 2026 returns, so that's, of course, very exciting. The show will be held at Odaward Gymnasium, and that will be the first of what is going to be 4 pay-per-views for Marigold. So they went from 2 in their first year to 3 in their second, and now they go to the full 4. So quarterly pay-per-views are now here. We'll get to the rest of them, but we also learned that Mayu Iwatani's 15th anniversary show, Icon Forever, will take place celebrating Mayu Iwatani, celebrating her 15-year career on January 24th at Korakuen Hall. This is obviously my most anticipated match of the year. It takes place on a Saturday, so hopefully it's packed. Hopefully it's amazing. To see what that card looks like will be so exciting. But awesome to see that they are making a big time signature event for Mayu herself as she celebrates 15 years in this business. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait. Between this and Sareee Chronicle, we are celebrating two of the very best on the entire planet and their 15-year anniversaries at the same time. That's special. That's what it's all about. Then we have Marigold Shine Forever 2026, a glorious celebration. This will take place on May 23rd. So the anniversary show, once again, coming back around in May. So looking forward to that one as always as well. That will also be on a Saturday. So that's always a big time win here. And then it is the return of Marigold Summer Destiny 2026. We didn't have that show this year. We instead just had Grand Destiny, but they'll both be part of the schedule. This one will be on August 9th, also at Oda Ward, and that will be on a Sunday in the summer, right before the Grand Prix starts. So that's a very intriguing aspect of it too. I think based on timing and how they want it, this will lead probably right into the Grand Prix if I had to guess. So it'll be fascinating to see what that show looks like, how that all goes down, but I'm excited. And then of course, the now I would say signature event of their year moving forward, back to Ryogoku Sumo Hall, October 24th. So pretty much a year from today, it will be Grand Destiny 2026. What will that show look like, right? I think a good way to judge Marigold and their growth from year to year is looking at these Ryogoku Sumo Halls, right? The first one, that was their biggest number to date. A very different roster at the time. You know, the top matches were Sareee versus Julia. Obviously, a lot has changed there. You had Utami and Io, and then of course you had the United National Championship Miku Aono versus Mirai, which led into Miku Aono versus Bozilla. This year, very different. We'll see where we are in Grand Destiny 2026, especially with so much of the young Marigold crew likely and hopefully improving by that time. So very exciting. Looking forward to all that. We then had the Gauntlet tag match. This is about as expected, but everyone got proper time. I don't think anything was super duper rush or super fast. They gave this match a ton of time for every wrestler to get their moment and get their chance to shine on the show. And in the end, the match was essentially made to put over newcomer Shoko Kashino, which, you know, I think makes a lot of sense. My hope in this match was that Shin Yoda and Arina Yamanaka would walk out with the victory. Once they were introduced, I said, oh man, they're not running this gauntlet right here, right now. But I think my main takeaway from this match is just seeing the different team ups here. You know, I think there is something there for Kamomo Minami and Yuka Yamazaki if they want to keep those together as a tandem. I think they are very exciting, very youthful, and very talented as a duo. You also have Yuki Minami and Nagisa Tachibana. I think they did a great job. You want to talk about most improved. These two have done a really good job of improving under the radar. You know, with so much attention given to other rookies and other junior wrestlers in this promotion, I think Yuki Minami and Tachibana can be overlooked sometimes, but they did a good job as well. Now, Ishikawa and Hummingbird had to unfortunately be the first ones out, but of course we learned why in the end. You had Natsuki, Nagisa Nozaki and Rhea Seto, playing the heels in a unique way when they eliminated Chanyo and Arina Yamanaka. I was bummed, but ultimately with Shoko Kashino coming in last, singing her song, and then being joined by none other than Gigaton, it was really just to showcase Shoko. That's what this match was made for. She won the match with a big time splash. And now we'll see what she fits into on this roster. I think she had a good showing, all things considered. I'm intrigued to see what she does. She has a fun look. The singing gimmick is obviously a fun one. So we'll see. We'll see what it turns into. But yeah, the gauntlet match was the only match on the show that's like, yeah, you could skip it. You won't miss too much. But it fit its purpose. I think it's better than doing maybe a battle royal or something, unless you had something on the line. So no complaints here. Welcome to Marigold to Shoko Kashino. We then had Megaton versus M. If you ever wondered to yourself how over Megaton is, just watch this match. The crowd loves her. The crowd loves Megaton, which is really sweet in many ways. I said this in the preview, but like the fact that she was getting her own singles match, no matter what the match looked like, was really cool. Fuka has talked about Megaton and her wrestling journey, back in Actress and Now, and how it just kind of started like, yeah, you can compete and be on the cards, but you're not gonna do too much. And now here she is, and she's getting cheered loudly, and ultimately she went out there, pumped, excited to be a wrestler, excited to get out there, and sitting there wondering to herself, who is my opponent? Who is gonna go one-on-one with me? And the song hit, and my God, it was more terrifying than I could ever imagine. I said like, "Oh, Sakura Hirota or something, keep it comedic." How about Minoru Suzuki? Minoru Suzuki was Megaton's opponent, fitting the M. Um, I just treated it as an X rather than M. I should have just started guessing people with M. I'll tell you what, I was never gonna guess Minoru Suzuki, so it really did not matter. I would have guessed like Mio Momono, Miku Aono, like kept it joshi. But instead, it was Minoru Suzuki. You got to hear the song. It was a big pop, and the realization by Megaton was hysterical. And ultimately, the match itself was entertaining. It accomplished everything it set out to do and more. And credit to Minoru Suzuki, he gave Megaton a lot. He gave her some moments in this match, man. And anytime he did something to Megaton, the crowd was so loud. So they were like, This guy stinks. How dare you? How dare you hit our dear Megaton?" Um, but it was a wild match to witness, because I was just thinking to myself, like, this is crazy, like Minoru Suzuki. But I think they built the matchup really well, and for what it was and the expectations of it and everything, it was exactly what you wanted it to be. Minoru gave a lot, and for Megaton, it was a really cool moment for her to have that match. The beauty of Megaton tapping or giving up or submitting or whatever when she's just getting put up for the pile driver was fantastic. Like, what a great spot. Obviously, Megaton's gimmick, not gimmick, but just her reality has been tapping out very early in submissions, and they did give her a nice survival spot in a submission against Minoru here, which was really, really cool. But the fact that that's how she lost, right? It's like, "Oh, you're going for the gotch style? Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. See you later." And then she just ran out of the building. Like, again, exactly what I guess you could ask for out of a match like this, right? It's supposed to be comedic, it's supposed to be funny. I have no complaints of what it accomplished. And then we had Chikagoto versus S, and the buzz, when S was revealed and who could S be, was always very exciting to me, because of the potential reality of what S could truly lead to. For me, it was hopefulness that we could go down that path, hopefulness that with one thing done, a return could happen, and I got every bit of it. And shout out to Chikagoto. She built this match up obviously by herself, but doing so in, training video that aired before the show actually started, continuously teasing the big idea and the big match and who could it be. Chikagota went from, maybe winning the Twin Star belts to this singles match, and it ended up, of course, being none other than Sareee, the return of the Sun God to Marigold, the first ever Marigold World Champion, made her return the first time since First Dream earlier this year, and it just felt right, folks. I I had the biggest smile on my face. Um, when that music hits, the crowd loses their minds. They're like, "Oh my god," because there is only one person that should be able to do this, and it is Sareee. When you're listening to this, the Cork and Hall show has already happened, I'm sure, for Sareee. And Sareee in back-to-back days would have competed on a Marigold and Stardom show. And she said it perfectly. Like, if you want me back in Marigold, just give me a call. I'm ready. I'm willing. I am a freelancer. This is Saree's pro wrestling. And I think that's the perfect way that it should be going. The IWGP stuff's done for now. Maybe they'll go back to it eventually. But this is what Sareee is. This is who she is. She should be appearing in every promotion because that's the demand. That is who she is and what she brings to the table. And the reason that when that music hit, besides me obviously being a massive fan of Sareee, is because it opens the door. It opens the door to so much more. This past week on Friday Night Gotcha, we got Spark Rush versus Senka Akatsuki and Seri Yamaoka. And I absolutely adored the match. And just seeing Sareee and Sareee share the ring was a moment of like, yeah, I'm gonna need you to get back to Marigold soon, Sareee. There are matches to be had against this young core, let alone against, of course, the icon herself. And that's what I meant. One step closer that when they're celebrating their 15th anniversaries, there is something to be had there between the two, something to happen. These two should be connected for the rest of time, Sareee and Mayu Iwatani, because of what they've created together, whether it be one-on-one or teaming, right? Some of the best stuff of the past 2 years is them together and apart. So yeah, I had a big smile on my face, and in full Sareee style, Chikagota had no shot in hell. This was this was an absolute slugfest for Sareee. She was, playing with her food type, just pushing Chikagota and in many ways, kind of putting the scene on notice. Like, uh, listen, I may have just had a big loss, but I I am your Tokyo Sports women's wrestling MVP. I have been the talk of Joshi, one of the talks of Joshi for since I came back. Remember who I am. Remember what I am. I am everything I say I am. And this match and the way they did it and the way it was plotted out was just so good. It was just so good. I just It was a great performance from Sareee, who could do this in her sleep, and it was a great performance by Cochica. This was a showing from Cochica that you wanna see, the underdog, the fiery underdog who is not going to give up. She's going to fight and fight and fight until you have to put her down once and for all. And Sareee was very willing to give her those moments, including the big swing. That was a great moment for her. In the end, of course, Sareee won. She didn't have to hit the Uranagi. She hit the double foot stomp because, listen, there are levels to this. And for Sareee, this was a walk in. I'm back. Give me a call. I'm back even more. This is my pro wrestling. I do what I want and you should be excited. I couldn't be more excited for 2026. She's working Marigold. She's working Stardom. She's going to be Chihiro Hashimoto's anniversary opponent. It's a great time to be a Sareee fan, as it's often been, and I just can't wait to see what's next. So This was awesome. The 2 surprises were home runs, both Minoru Suzuki and Sareee, and, yeah, I'm hoping that, we see the Sun God sooner rather than later back in the Golden Gardens because as the first world champion, and as someone who has said many times she is not done with the icon, we're gonna have to keep that alive. Thank you very much. But a really, really fun match. Good job by Go Chica in defeat as well. We then had the Twin Star Championship match. Riku Kawahara and Maria of Magenta, the defending champions, representing Marvelous. They went and faced Misa Matsui and Chiaki for the belts. I have one request for this match, and they listened. They listened. It was forget all the, the magenta heel stuff. Forget the super heel stuff. Just go out there and have a match. And they had a match, and this was a really, really strong Twin Star Championship match. The best I Magenta's reign wasn't very long, but just accomplished everything I could have asked for. Misa Matsui, I said this on Twitter when she won, but I think that's the most underrated wrestler in all of Marigold. And as Mayu said in when they faced off for the Superfly, she might be the most underrated wrestler in Joshi wrestling, maybe in pro wrestling. I don't know if enough people, if you don't watch Marigold, I don't know if enough people know how good Misa Matsui is. She's awesome. And I think Chiaki has really developed into a strong tag team wrestler. The single stuff leaves a little to be desired, and that's fine. Not everyone needs to be a singles wrestler. But Chiaki has really meshed well, and I think her and Misa meshed well. They hit the big dance and stuff beforehand, and they just have a good vibe about them that's very exciting as a duo. And on the other side, you have Rico and Maria, who have had their ups and downs since turning heel. But they were just Rico and Maria for the most part in this match, and that's what made this good. That's what made this exciting. Is it the best Twin Star title match? No. It's not even the best of the year, right? Nanai and Sareee. We remember that reign. Um, but now the Twin Stars are back in Marigold's possession. This was like I said, very good match. The way it ended with Misa getting dropped on her head, but then rolling through and getting the shocking, stunning pin. I really enjoyed that. I really did. And ultimately, what this match was on the card was, the difference maker or the I don't wanna say palate cleanser, I don't think the palate needed to be cleansed necessarily, but it set up it was the perfect middle ground between 2 singles matches and then the final 4 singles matches of the show. I think that's kinda what it played. That was the role it was here to play, and it played it well, and look at these 2. How can you not love these 2, winning the Twin Stars, and I'm excited to see what their reign could be. I don't expect a Mirai Saku or Nanai Sareee reign where, you could put these belts in the main event of a Korakuen and they're just gonna absolutely crush it, but I do think they can crush it. I think you can put them in a Shinjuku face show defending these belts in the main event against a cool duo, maybe Celine Flora or, Utami and Yuzuki or Kenyoda and Arina Yamanaka, just all these different combos. Um Yuka, maybe not the main event, but Yuki Yamazaki and Kamo Minami, Seri Yamaoka and uh Yuka. Um, there's a lot of combos that this tag division has that they can run with. But for Misa Matsui, this is the moment, the number one person that probably deserved the belt. Um, right now. Right now, finally getting her first championship win in Marigold, and it feels like the start of something. Um, just really happy, really fulfilled when this match was over, and that's really, again, all you could ask for. So, thumbs up here from me. Congratulations to the new Twin Star champions. A well-deserved victory here. That's wrestling, folks. Next up, we had Seri Yamaoka versus Chihiro Hashimoto. I don't think I could have asked for this match to be more perfect and on the nose, as I said. This was a match designed to be a building block for Seri Yamaoka, to be a moment of in some ways being humbled, but in other ways showing I can go with the best of the best. And there is no more intimidating force in the world of joshi wrestling than Chihiro Hashimoto. There isn't. And from the moment the bell rang, you felt that. From the moment she walked down to the ring, you felt that this was someone who unwavering, I'm here to destroy. I'm here to put down this amateur wrestler who people, first comparisons instantly go to Chihiro Ashima because of the backgrounds. I'm here to end that. And what this match became was a sense of surviving, a sense of proving to Hash you're not someone you're not gonna walk over me. You may destroy me, you may throw me around, you may hell have me concerned watching, but I'm gonna keep getting back up. I'm gonna keep fighting. You're gonna have to outsmart me in many ways to win. The craftiness and the creativity to this match was one that I absolutely adored. I really did. Like, this is a match that some people will be like, "Oh, that was fine," and others are gonna be like, "Oh, that was awesome." I'm on the awesome side because Seri Yamaoka, again, I do it every single time I go on one of these and she's brought up. That is one of my favorite wrestlers to watch on the planet today. One of my favorite wrestlers. And what she's done here in this first year has been undeniably great. But this was, you know, between a match against like Julia or Hosh, this was it. This was this was the big one for her, right? And it was a challenge. It was a true challenge for her of fight, just fight, keep pushing and fighting, keep pushing and fighting. Hashimoto gave her no room to breathe, gave her no room to survive, but she kept pushing. The grappling in the early going was masterful work by Hashimoto of like just pummeling her and outpowering her and saying, "You're gonna have to get craftier. You're gonna have to figure something out." And ultimately, it is building this to a point where Yamaoka is gonna get her chops in. She's gonna get her few moments to shine, and those are gonna be moments that the crowd is super into. Yamaoka was fired up. She had so many great moments. There's a moment in this match where she's going for her new springboard drop kick, and as Hash runs at her, she falls a little bit, and Hash fights through it, pulls her back up, flips her, and she lands on her feet. What a great moment. There's also the moment where Yamaoka, who so many times in her previous matches could get back in the momentum side by hitting her spear out of nowhere, bouncing off the ropes, Hash just catches her, blocks it, shuts it down. Fantastic spot. Rather, Yamaoka gets her first bit of offense in this match when she gets to the top rope and hits her diving spear. This wasn't a match where Hashimoto needed to give her more. I think this is exactly what you wanted Hash to give her for the first chapter. That's the important part. This has to be chapter 1 of something that's been great. And Hashimoto has had such an unbelievable year to the point where this match just needed to check the right boxes, and it checked all the right boxes. Like, if the perfect match in my head, if this was a 15-minute time limit, which it was, 11 minutes of domination, just 1 minute of that Sareee offense. There's a moment where Hashimoto just flat out destroys Yamaoka, and she's gonna roll to the floor. She was decimated by a spear by Hash. You could hear the impact, and she is just laying on the floor. You hear the count going. She's just in many ways like, "Man, what am I into?" But she got back in that ring, and she kept fighting. The moment of the match for me was when she hit the gut wrench on Hosh. That was awesome. The crowd lost it. It was like one of those moments where she's got a little fire, she's got a little left in her. Ultimately, though, it was not going to be Yamaoka's night. She fell victim to a clothesline followed by a unique pin. This was a pin that locked Saree's legs while pinning her legs to the or shoulders to the mat in a way there was no way for her to kick out. So maybe the lariat would have had her out once and for all, but there was no doubt she could get out of this. In many ways, it's like the advanced version of Sanka Akatsuki's pinning attempt. And I think that was a beautiful touch of, you know what, I'm going to get crafty with this rookie. I'm going to beat her in a way that, I'm not putting her through the mat. Maybe she would have kicked out, but I'm going to wrap her up to the point where, no, this is enough for now. We'll see you again on the other side. They shared an awesome moment after the match, embracing, Hosh talking to her. Seri Yamaoka is the one. I've said this many times, but Takumi, Mayu, Hosh, those are three aces, and she's faced them all in major matches this year. Um, that's not including the matches with Mirai, the Nanai match, everything with Sanka, all these different things. She's the one. We're gearing up for what will be her second year in 2026, and that's going to be special. That's going to be something you're going to want to witness, you're going to want to enjoy, you're going to want to appreciate. The fact she's this good now is terrifying. The fact that she's going to be even better next year and so on is even better. Somewhere down the line, her and Hashimoto must share the ring once again. I don't know if that's in a year, 2 years, whatever it may be, they have to share the ring again, because when we get to that, that will be an incredible next step for Suri Yamaoka. I can't wait for it. I loved this match. I thought it was great, and I thought this was a perfect way to start the final run of matches here on this show. Speaking of the final run, we get to the big 3 here on Marigold Grand Destiny 2025, beginning with the United National Championship match. On almost any other show, this might be the match of the night, quite frankly. This match was the epitome epitome? Embodiment? We'll go with embodiment. I think that's a better word for this. This was the embodiment of all the work Mai Sakurai has put together since joining Marigold. From someone who, when they announced the departures from Stardom, people were like, it's Mai Sakurai. Okay, she's a good role player. She'll be a good piece. And she continuously built herself up and built herself up. Listen, when Mai Sakurai was in Stardom, especially the first year, I was like, "Oh my god, Mai Sakurai, what are we doing here?" And, she got better as time went on when she joined DDM. That did a lot of good for her and so on and so forth. But when she went to Marigold and then that match with Julia, something flipped. The switch flipped, whatever it was. And she gained more massive confidence, and she was the right obvious choice to be the United National Champion to kick off this year. What Mai Sakurai has done is take what she's learned from Julia, the best things she's learned from Julia, the physicality, the slaps, the pile drivers, the headbutts, whatever it is, the physicality that Julia brought to the table. And she mixed it with what she did best, right? The STFs and the diving elbow and just her overall charisma, and it's made her a bona fide top star. One that I say to myself, is it crazy for Mai Sakurai to eventually be Marigold World Champion? After this match, I don't even think it's a question that she should be in that conversation, because this match was stellar. This match was fantastic. They followed the Mai Sakurai playbook, but this was a playbook that was destruction, devastation, hard hitting. Mai Sakurai gave Victoria Yuzuki, who I haven't even said her name yet, no time to breathe. But the beauty of Victoria Yuzuki, she's Spitfire. She is going to go and go and go and go. You are gonna have to kill her to stop her. That right? We saw it in the final against Miku Aono. She had the incredible 15-minute match with Mayu Iwatani. She was exhausted by that final. She was gassed, but she wasn't gonna give up until Miku put her down, pretty much, right? That's the same that goes here. Victoria Yuzuki is such a fantastic pro wrestler. One of my favorites. Again, uh, I don't know how she's this good so quickly. We are less than a month away from celebrating her second anniversary, and I will have a video on that. We'll be celebrating her second anniversary, a little anniversary video of the incredible first 2 years of her career. Um, but she's just gotten so good. And I think Yuzuki is at her best when she follows her opponent's uh plan. When she follows her opponent's game plan and how they wrestle their match and how they design their match, because the way she wrestles, she is going, 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 going. And I think we've seen times where Victoria Yuzuki's her own game plan works really, really well. You know, her and Rhea Seto, really against the youth, I think it works really, really well because she's going and going. And sometimes you don't always want that against the main event wrestlers, but you love that against fellow young Marigold members because it's the determination to defeat one another. It is the speed and the excitement and the youthfulness that comes with it. But this match wasn't even slowed down. It was just you're gonna have to go through hell to come out of the other side as United National Champion. And that's what she did, you know? I think Yuzuki was bleeding within the first 5 minutes of this match from the mouth. She was all messed up. Mai was crushing her, dude. Mai Sakurai has a tombstone on the floor. Don't know where that came from, but I was all for it. You know, hitting her with a chair, just really confidently defending her championship and doing so in a way that I'm sitting here watching this. I'm like, they are setting this match up for you. It was very different from the world title match, which we'll talk about. But Yuzuki was gonna have to overcome a plus Mai Sakurai performance. This might have been my favorite Mai Sakurai performance ever. I think it was. Um, she was challenging Yuzuki to again get up, fight back, fight back, fight back, and that's when Yuzuki's at her best. You know, they were slapping the dog piss out of each other. You know, like they were destroying each other with slaps later in this match. But I have to talk about the apron German suplexes. Like Yuzuki hit a German on Mai on the apron where Mai definitely landed on part of Yuzuki's head, and I'm just sitting there like, "Oh my god, is she okay?" And she kept reaching for her nose. She maybe thought she busted her nose or something. She seemed fine there. Most of the blood was coming from her mouth, but that's a moment where you sit there and you're like, "You just dropped her on your head. You gotta be in so much pain." But that's Yuzuki. She just keeps going. You don't notice it. She just keeps going. She does her big spot to the outside, gets on the momentum, starts hitting her offense, hitting it with swagger too. And I think watching Victoria Yuzuki from the last Ryogoku show to now is fascinating. Obviously, she has had more of that. That's let me rephrase. More of her career has been in the period since then than beforehand. But it shows the massive improvements in her overall game. She has the move set, she has the determination. It's just can you piece it all together to be complete? And she is complete. There is a reason that she is always the talk of the town when it comes to these media outlets. She is the one. She is truly the one for them that they want to push. I know I say Sareee is the one. I think she is the one in the long term because that is just a explosive wrestler who can do things that not everyone can. But in terms of Marigold and what they are telling you, she is our future ace, and they said that from the very beginning. And she is proving it in matches like these. from the domination of Mai Sakurai to the overcoming and trying to fight back, and like I said, slapping the taste out of each other's mouth to the point where you get concerned. You're like, "Oh my god, is she okay?" But the fantastic final few minutes where they're trading and dropping each other on the heads and rolling through, getting to their fighting spirit, super kick from Yuzuki, all these different things, and then Yuzuki hits the victory shooting, and Mai Sakurai kicks out. So what is Yuzuki's new move? What are we winning this with? Because she had retired the trifecta moonsaults effectively after Mayu Iwatani ran through her. Um, ran through her for the Superfly, right? She moved on from those. So what's next? The super victory shooting from the top rope. Essentially a spiral tap type looking move. She hits it, lands right on my 1, 2, 3. The physicality, the drama, the offense. It felt like this match never stopped. It was, and again, you look at this, you look at the world title match, and you look at the main event. They were all different in their own way, and this match was fitting of Yuzuki, who's kind of high speed styled, versus a Mai Sakurai, who's more grounded but physical. You put those two together, and it made absolute magic. It's fascinating, it reminds me of like Julia versus Azumi. I always liked when they wrestled each other. Julian Azumi? Or Julian Starlight Kid. Julian Starlight Kid. That's who I meant, sorry. Because Starlight Kid, obviously with the high speed background, the big offense, with the physicality of Julia, it always worked super well. And when this match was over, I had that comp in my brain of just that kind of dynamic between the two different wrestlers, Yuzuki and Starlight Kid, but similar pathway. And when Yuzuki won, there was no doubt in my mind, like, this is exactly who should be the next United National Champion. She's now won the Superfly. She's now won the United National. That's 2. That's 2 of the belts. Twin Star world title to go in terms of her chasing to become the first Grand Slam winner. But this match was fantastic. I think for me, it is the best United National Championship match we've had to date. I don't think, like, the one that it had to top was probably Mai and Miku from first stream when Mai won the belt. So if we're gonna continuously upping the game when these belts are changing, awesome. That's great. That's what you want to see. Like I said, this match was fantastic. I love the new gear, by the way, on both of them. Yuzuki's new gear is fantastic. Just a superstar. Look, this is one of those ones. You got to take chances when you are a company like Marigold with these wrestlers, and Yuzuki has been. Everyone said it when Yuzuki announced she was leaving Stardom to go to Marigold. It was the one that I was like, hold on, she's going. I said at the time, that's the biggest switch. That was the biggest switch at the time. And she just continuously proves it day in and day out. She is often one of the top highlights on house shows. She's often one of the top highlights on these big shows. And now she's the United National Champion. And now the possibility is open of so many matches between her and her fellow young Marigold members. There are possibilities of her and Mayu once again, and Mayu, having taken one belt from her, could she want to take that again? There is, hell, the possibility of maybe a Sareee now that she's back around. Sareee had talked about previously the idea of the United National title because of the connection that name has to Inoki and things like that. There's also other outsiders, Mio Momono, anyone from Marvelous even. Now that Hosh has been on this show, maybe Sendai Girls. There are different avenues to go down that are super duper exciting, but none more exciting, I think, than young Marigold getting their chance to fight for one of the top belts against Victoria Yuzuki. Rhea Sato is going to have the biggest match of her career somewhere in this reign. I know that for sure, and I can't wait for it. So This match was terrific. Um, like I said, probably my number 2, definitely my number 2. On the night would be my number 1 on most any other night. But a fantastic match, the best United National title match of the entire belt's history, not just the reign, the belt's history. Awesome, awesome stuff. Then we had the Marigold World Championship match. It was Utami Hayashishita versus Miku Aono, the Dreamstar Grand Prix winner. And this match on paper, super exciting. This match, when it happened, for me, super well done. I don't think I think there is a debate if this is the third best match on the show. Depends how much you probably love Seri Yamaoka versus Hash. Um, but I really enjoyed this match. I know a lot of people are a little it was very split. Some people adored it, some people did not like it. I really enjoyed it because the match had one purpose and one purpose only. The previous match was for Yuzuki to overcome, right? Overcome to become champion. She's still so young. She's still uh green in some ways, but her talent breaks through and it's gonna get her there, and her spirit and her determination and the confidence she has. This match was built to be Miku Aono's ultimate moment, ultimate crowning. So much of this match was showing how truly great Miku Aono is. Yeah, slow start, typical Tommy title match. That didn't affect me. I know how this goes, feeling each other out before getting to the next step. But once we got to the next step, it was a sense of really what we've been seeing with Miku Aono for since the beginning of the Dream Star is she's gonna destroy you. She is going to be relentless in her offense, in her attack. You are gonna have to figure something out to stop her in becoming world champion. And it's it's fascinating really because a lot of it is what Nanai Takahashi did in many of her matches. Nanai Takahashi was relentless, you know? Beating Nanai, you were gonna have to kind of squeeze out a victory most of the time. So to see Miku kind of take that on in her big matches now, that relentless, nonstop offense, nonstop smart offense, it's what makes Miku Aono so special, so great. It is what has leveled up Miku Aono, I think, just over the last year. Miku Aono has long been a fantastic wrestler. I'm not saying she just became a fantastic wrestler, but she leveled up to be the undeniable Marigold World Champion, but also the undeniable ace of this promotion. I said it in the preview, this win, this definitive win, not only would give her the United National title, the Dream Star, and the world title all in the first, you know, year and a half of this company's existence. But it would further establish her as the top dog in the company. It would further establish that, and I think her being the one to be the aggressor and for majority of the match, take probably 60% of this match, is again following kind of that Nanaiism, that Nanai style that she kind of gained a lot from the match they had in Nanai's retirement match. And for Utami, a lot of people have a lot to say about Utami at all times, and I'm not here to change your opinion. You're either gonna like her style or you're not. That's fine. Sometimes I love it, sometimes yeah, it's fine, whatever. But this match, she worked her tail off to make Miku look as scary of a champion as possible. And when I say scary, I mean who's gonna beat Miku Aono? That's what it felt like when this match was over. It's like, who's gonna beat her? If this is how she's gonna run through people, this is how she's gonna do to the world champion to win the belt. That makes her a final boss level wrestler. This match wasn't, but it's very similar to how Shuri became World of Stardom champion and reigned. You know, it's very similar to that where you have to Shuri's willing to bring you up with her, but you have to not get eaten up. And I think Utami did not get eaten up whatsoever. She sold her tail off for Miku Aono. She bumped her tail off for Miku Aono. And in the end, moments like when she's selling her leg after Miku had decimated it, destroyed it throughout the match, early on and later on, that was magic for me. That was the moment I sat there, you know, exhausted as ever, but still trucking on. I said, "Hell yeah. That's exactly what I wanna see. That's exactly what I wanna see in this big time world title match." And, you know, Tommy has that final push of confidence of, "I'm gonna beat her." She hits the BT bomb, and Miku grabs that rope, and that is the moment where Tommy, you could see in her face like, "I don't know. I don't know what to do," you know? She props her up in the corner, goes and hits that. I didn't even talk about the Styles Clash on the apron and all that thing. I'm not Go watch the match. I really enjoyed it, but she props her up to go for another, BT bomb. I believe they're calling it the Crusade now, and Miku is able to reverse that. Instant offense. You know, we get Miku Aono hitting the Styles Clash, and we get a kick out, of course. Miku Aono then hits the move she had taken from Nunai Takahashi that I can never remember the name of off the top of my head, because it's a very unique name. Let me get it real quick here. Oh, not the Nana Raka, the 1 second EX. You know, it's kind of like the Emerald Flosion. That what it's called? It's 1 second EX. Sit outside power slam, dropping them high on their neck type thing. You know, and she kicks out of that. Mind you, this is also after Utami takes one of the scariest reverse suplexes off the top rope. She landed like right on I'm showing with my head, but she landed looked like right on the top of her head. I just asked myself, how is she still going? How Oh my god. It was terrifying, but she kept going like nothing happened. So ultimately, much like Miku Aono defeated Nanai Takahashi with the 1 second EX in her retirement match, Miku Aono said, okay, why don't I defeat Tommy with her move too? She hits the BT bomb, the Crusade, whatever you prefer to call it, and pins Utami with her own move to become Marigold World Champion. Do you know how badass it is to see a wrestler beating her opponents with their moves to win the biggest matches? That is different. That is exciting. That's unique. I kind of love it. I kind of love it. So different. Miku Aono was more than ready for this moment. Miku Aono was more than ready to lead Marigold forward as the world champion of this promotion, as the world champion of this company. She's without a shadow of a doubt an incredibly talented wrestler who has watched her stock rise and rise and rise. People are going to have their debates and conversations about the Utami reign, but I think it was undeniably Miku Aono is the perfect person to take that belt from her. As I sit here and I see Miku Aono hold that belt up, it was in many ways made for her. The red, put on the brilliant future, to put around the waist of the brilliant future who stood tall at the end of this show. Just a fantastic moment. And the right world champion to lead Marigold forward into this next chapter, into the next part of the book, because she's more than ready. She she is the ace. You know, she is the ace. You have the icon, you have the ace, you have the future ace, you have the one, all these different names. But yeah, I was thrilled to see Miku win. I can't wait for what the reign looks like. I can't wait for just what she does as world champion. She has never missed a show. She has always been on the shows, always in top matches, always going. I remember the little time early this year after she lost the United National title. The people were like, what is she doing? She's, she's not on the winning side. She's not doing much. And then she got picked as the nice retirement opponent, and never doubted it again. Uh yeah. What a moment. What a champion. I'm beyond excited to see what Miku Aono can do with this title around her waist. It's gonna be fascinating to see who steps up, right? There isn't we saw through the Otami reign. It can be difficult. Tommy was the only Marigold wrestler until Miku Aono to compete for the world championship, current, I should say. So, what does it look like now? Who is going to step up? Who is going to be the first to step up to Miku Aono? Same goes for Victoria Yuzuki. These are the two champions that should absolutely be leading this promotion forward, should absolutely be at the head of this company. Sure, this wasn't the main event. The crowning moment wasn't the main event. It didn't need to be the main event. It felt special no matter what. It felt deserving no matter what. And I'm beyond happy to see it happen. So, congratulations to Miku Aono, your new Marigold World Champion. Can't wait to see how the reign goes. But now we get to your featured presentation. Marigold Grand Destiny 2025's main event, Ryogoku Sumo Hall, The Dream Destiny. Thunder Rock collides again. May have said Mayu Iwatani versus IYO Sky on the moniker, on all the graphics, because yeah, that's IYO Sky. Boy, oh boy, was she every bit of IYO Shirai in this match. It's just different. It's just different. Um, I get emotional thinking about the match already because if you know Mayu versus IYO, if you know their story, if you know what their rivalry looks like, this match was truly perfect. I feel like Mayu, when she first saw IYO, the emotions are running through my eyes as we speak. And the the demeanor and the fact that this match could even happen. Julia said on Instagram she watched this match with tears in her eyes. Me too, sister. Me too. This is what pro wrestling is all about to me. Is a match like this that felt as big as it was, that truly captured the term dream match. The Dream Destiny was such a perfect, perfect tagline for this match. It is the it is the Dream Destiny. It is the dream that we are getting this one more time. It's one of those very few times where it doesn't matter who won. It really didn't. It's not about tomorrow for that. It was about the moment. It's about IYO and Mayu getting to share this ring one more time with one another. It was about having this opportunity, an opportunity that an opportunity that 2 years ago wasn't even imaginable. to have Mayu Iwatani, who even said it after the show, I am going to be here when you want to come back. I will be waiting for you to face the worldwide superstar, the WWE superstar that is IYO Sky. And just from the entrances alone to when they're in the ring and the presentation, it felt as big as it should. And when the match itself got going, it was like going in a time machine. The different pathways to get to this moment. Uh, Different wrestlers, more seasoned, a bit older. Yet it was like we were just following their trilogy. It was like the chemistry was unchanged. The chemistry was in full force, and the moments and the way they build these matches and the way they wrestle these matches, the way they connect with one another in the ring, it was like nothing changed. I don't know how it's possible because in the last 7.5 years, I've watched Mayu Iwatani evolve into a completely different wrestler. I've watched IYO evolve into a different wrestler, right? IYO has spent the last 7.5 years for the most part in the WWE system, but we saw it last year against Utami, the difference she makes between the WWE ring and the the Marigold ring, the Japanese ring. It's night and day. So the idea of this match never came to me as like, "Oh, I don't know if it can live up to those expectations." But when she showed that against Utami and the match was announced, the expectations were through the roof. My expectations were greatness. My expectations were match of the year, and they exceeded every which one of them. This match is one I'm going to watch for years and years and years, much like I have the rest of their matches. It's a match that is going to live in time. It is a match that it's a match that pro wrestling should be based upon. And when I say that is not necessarily, the exacts of the relationship, but the idea of it is that you have two people who grew up together, best friends, and no matter what has changed, no matter where they've gone, you can come back to it. It's what a rivalry in pro wrestling should be. Maybe that's the better sense of it, but this was a slugfest. This was them figuring each other out at points, but to the point of not hurting the match by any means, truly figuring each other out. You know, there's a great photo that you can see when they're standing across from one another before the match starts doing the introductions. IYO has the biggest smile on her face, while Mayu is so serious, you know? Part of her is maybe trying to hide that emotion, but the other part of her is like, "This is it, man." IYO was just so happy to be in the ring with Mayu again, but for Mayu, this is, again, forever so much more to her. It's always been that way in this relationship, always been that way in this rivalry. "You are the mountain I am climbing forever and always, and I'm trying to do so in a completely different way from how you are." And it's the big sister, little sister role that, again, the fact that I could watch this match and see moments in this match and compare them to the year-end climax match that they had in 2016 and just be like, "How? How are we doing this?" That was 2016. That's almost a decade ago. And you 2 are not only bringing back those moments, but amplifying it a bit more. Mayu was selling her ass off in this match. She was bumping and going for IYO. And it was vice versa. IYO was willing to give her so much, and It was ultimately gonna come down to who can hit the big one, who can hit the big move. IYO said it best in her tweet. She's heartbroken the match had to end because we don't know if they will ever share the ring again as opponents. We don't know if they'll ever share the ring again, period. The way they talk about it after, it sounds like Thunder Rock has to happen again, and boy, oh boy, do I agree. But that's the beauty of this match was playing the hits, but in a way that isn't just playing the hits. It is adding the seasoning that both of them have gotten, the change that they've both been through to their hits, and putting on a match that is so spectacular, so fantastic, so memorable that reminds you that, yeah, this is Mayu Iwatani. Yeah, this is Io Shirai. These are two of the greatest to ever step in the ring. I hold these two on a pedestal that is an unreachable pedestal in many ways when it comes to all-time greats. They are Hall of Fame caliber wrestlers. They are all-time greats. They are everything and more. And you saw it in this match. The the performance by Mayu, I think, can be overlooked because again, like I said, it was playing the hits. It was returning to being the underdog against IYO. It's something I've only seen her do one other time in the past number of years. Really, if you wanna go back to 2020, being in that underdog role, it was this year against Nai Takahashi, her first match in Marigold, where I watched that and I said to myself, "I haven't seen Mayu like this in a long time." But in other ways, Mayu also brought out the newer version of herself, which like, "Listen, I am I am on the level with you in this ring." And that's where the physicality really came out because there was a personal feel in the early going. It felt like in many ways Mayu was trying to be like, "Yeah, you can have a smile on your face all you want, but this means more than just an exhibition. This means more. This is there's so much legacy, there's so much history here, and we are putting it out in the ring." Mayu's emotion, Io's emotion, the opportunity to share this ring one more time, and the offense, and Mayu hitting the best poison rana ever for the greatest near fall. I I bet. I won't lie, I bet. I knew Mayu wasn't winning, like, there was no world, you know, but that's when you're watching the best matches. When you know the winner, when you know what to expect, and they can make you believe, they can get rid of reality or not believability, but, expectations, throw them out the window, and set new ones. Um, IYO is masterful. IYO is the best right now is the best IYO has been since leaving Stardom. Um, Maybe it's the best she's ever been. I don't know. But when she hit the locomotive suplexes, rolling through German suplexes, rolling through, I was like, "Holy shit, this is IYO and Mayu just back in their bag, just back in history, back in their." That's when I was just like, "Oh my god, how are they redoing this?" And these little spots here and there, it was everything. It This match was everything. And IYO ultimately won with not one but two moonsaults. You know, on the second one, she kinda looked up and just prayed. It was like, "I don't want this to end, but I have to," and she pinned Mayu Iwatani in the middle of the ring. I didn't give you every move and whatnot. You just go and watch it. There's amazing kickouts, there's amazing drama, there's amazing everything. It was for them just the continuation of their rivalry, the continuation of their dynamic. And if this is the last time, fine. Okay. That doesn't That's that if this is how we end the rivalry that defined Joshi over the past, you know, decade and a half, cool. Sounds good because it's one of my favorite matches I've watched. Um, it's my match of the year. It is one that I am gonna probably watch again as soon as I'm done recording. The fact that at the tip top of being awake for 20 hours, I am still thinking about this match. I'm still thinking about what they accomplished. That's when you know. That's when you know that you watch something special. You witness something special. You witness something magical. And to see these two embrace and share the words with each other. IYO say, Marigold, look at these future wrestlers. The future is so bright here for the promotion, for Joshi Wrestling. Follow them, believe in them, and to see them hit the Thunder Rock pose. This is when I truly had tears in my eyes. I was gone. I was already gone after the speeches and watching the match end. Like, man, what I watched was everything I could have asked for. Um, but to see them hit the pose, an updated version of the Thunder Rock pose, right? Goes from doing the one to now doing the point at her head, much like she does in WWE. A nice little tweak. And just seeing the unbelievable happiness that these two had at sharing the ring one last time in Marigold's biggest show to date, it's special. And I'll say this, I don't know how you watch this show and you continue to count out this promotion and this roster. They have shown on the biggest occasions that the future is incredibly bright, that they are going to be a major part of said future. Victoria Yuzuki, Seri Yamaoka, Shino, Kazuna Tanaka. The list goes on and on and on of future top stars that are on this promotion. And when you look past just them, you look at this woman right here, Mayu Iwatani, the one I call the greatest of all time with full sincerity, with full belief. When you have Mayu, you should be paying attention. And the off chance that IYO can come in for one or two matches every few years, well, that's just an added bonus. But you have Miku Aono, you have Yuzuki now leading this promotion forward, and that's who they left it to. This is how the show goes off the air. Shine forever, Marigold. You have the two new champions standing tall. You have Mayu there. You have IYO there. You have the entire roster, and then they take your photo. This is your future. This is what this promotion is and can be and should be. And I'm just so unbelievably excited for what's next. I'm gonna be in the moment for weeks still when it comes to Mayu versus IYO. That's different. But for the rest of this show, I couldn't be more excited about what's to come and what's next. That's all I think about when it comes to wrestling is what's next. But this show, the way it ended, these two hugging and embracing to close it out, can only happen here. It can only happen here. So, yeah, I am very happy that this promotion exists. I really do love every bit of what this promotion brings to the table, and I just can't wait for what's next. So, hopefully, you enjoyed this review. Hopefully, you enjoy everything that I've been doing. This is one of my favorite shows of the year. This is the best Marigold show to date, top to bottom, nothing bad. All-time greatness in the main event. Fantastic matches throughout the card, awesome matches throughout the card, awesome surprises. It's truly everything you can ask from a major show, all in one. And it's again, there's so many of these wrestlers are just beginning and growing. Where they're going to be next year when we get back to Grand Destiny is so exciting just to think about. So inviting to think about. And who knows? Maybe we get that Thunder Rock match next year or the year after. But whenever we do, I will be seated and excited for whatever that happens. So, thank you everyone for listening to this review. As you could tell, Mayu vs. IYO to me, it was everything. It's it's everything. I kind of wrote my thoughts out on Twitter, so you know what? I will read those to maybe perfect my words before I wrap up here. So as I said, um my match of the year. The idea of the match when IYO returned to Japan last year. A chance for it to happen when Marigold welcomed Mayu Iwatani to where she could call home. When it was announced, it felt surreal. Now that it's over, it feels just as surreal. Mayu Iwatani and IYO Sky wrestled like they never missed a day. Never missed the 7.5 years that they were apart. Instead, the dynamic was the same. Personal. Chemistry exactly as it was. And greatness every step of the way. This match is everything wrestling is supposed to be to me. It never mattered who won, truly. All that matters was it was happening. And now that it's over, I'm forever grateful for what Thunder Rock has created, what they've done, and what they will continue to do. This is Marigold's greatest match. This is everything it was supposed to be and more. Thunder Rock will ride again someday, but if this was it for them facing one-on-one, it's a perfect conclusion. I'm so happy with pro wrestling. My GOAT did it one more time. I'll watch this again and again and again. Thunder Rock forever. Icon forever. IYO Shirai forever. That's all I got to say. This was a fantastic show, a fantastic card. I plead with all of you, go out of your way to check it out. If you haven't watched the show, if for some reason you're still not giving Marigold a chance, give them a chance. You're missing some greatness. You're missing a promotion, like I said, that I believe is just going to continue going up and up and up. Joshi is in such an amazing place right now. Stardom doing record business. Marigold doing this. When you see the the number 2 or number 3 or whatever, I don't really care about the numbers. People love to do that. But when you see Joshi promotions, multiple Joshi promotions doing over 3,000 people in attendance. Senjo did it this year. Marigold's done it this year. Stardom, like when you see that, Joshi is so healthy right now. And it's why I root every single promotion on. It's why I love seeing this show in particular happen. It's why I ask for so much from so many promotions because it can be great. There is no part of pro wrestling that has a brighter future than Joshi, and it's because of Marigold. It's because of what they have in their system. It's because of other promotions as well. That's not me taking anything away from them, but Marigold's a big reason why the future is so bright. So, if you haven't checked out this show, if you haven't checked out these matches, please go out of your way to do so. I highly recommend it. Show's available on Wrestle Universe. Like I said, one of, if not my favorite of the year. It's between this and Stardom All-Star Grand Queendom, quite frankly. Like those are my 2 favorite shows of the year, undeniably. And this show had my match of the year, Mayu Iwatani versus IYO Sky, aka IYO Shirai, maybe for the last time ever. But hey, if that's the case, they gave me the best possible last match ever between the two. So absolutely incredible, absolutely sensational. And that's it. That's all I got for you. We'll be back soon. I don't know what's my next video. I have to look at my schedule, but we'll have content soon. If anything, if I can't think of a specific video, we'll put together Joshi Weekly. Crimson Nightmare, we will do a preview for that. We will do a review for that. That's on Monday next week, so we'll see how that looks when we get there. So keep an eye out for all that. Thank you, though, to everyone who has listened. Thank you, though, to everyone who has joined me for this show. I love doing this channel. I love talking about Joshi. I'm excited to talk about more and more as time goes on. But yeah, I was really excited to do this review, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Like I said at the beginning, leave a like, leave a comment. What was your favorite match? How did you enjoy the show? And make sure you press that subscribe button if you haven't already. So with that, that's it. This was the Marigold Grand Destiny 2025 review. Until next time, everyone, so long. See you later. Bye bye.